Okay, here we go. All right, so hello everyone and welcome to Code Soul Saturday Hangouts. Today we're going to make a Discord bot. It's going to be a great old time. And this so the scope for today is in Python, we're going to create a new Discord bot. We're going to have it only work on our server, okay? And we will also set up connectivity to the Google Translate API. And our Discord bot will, if you set a certain reaction to a message in Discord, the bot will read that message, talk to the Google Translate API, translate the message, and then reply in Discord with the translated message. So this, considering that Code Soul is English and Korean speakers, some folks don't speak great English, some people don't speak great Korean, we can use this in our Discord server to translate between the two languages so that people can feel more included. So that is the scope for today. This session will assume that you know the basics of Python, but we will set up a Python project from scratch. That said, this will be very opinionated. I will show you the way that I make projects. You may want to do projects differently. But if you do follow along with code, I recommend that you just follow along with the way that I'm doing it because I have tested it. And because if you run into issues and you're doing it differently, it's going to be more difficult to troubleshoot the problems. Now, afterwards, you're more than welcome to convert it to your way of doing things, like it's your code, whatever. But please follow along with the way we're doing it here if you do decide to follow along. That said, if you do plan on following along and writing code yourself, please make sure that you have your own Discord account set up and that you have a Google Cloud Platform account set up already. If you don't have these set up beforehand, things are going to be slowed down. That said, the Google Cloud Platform account requires you to set up a credit card with them. The things we will be doing today will not cost you any money. However, you're still registering your credit card with someone, so if you don't use it properly, or if worst case someone somehow gets your login for it, they can end up charging you a lot of money. So be careful. So if you want to follow along but you're not comfortable with setting up the Google Cloud Platform account, most of this will be on the Discord side. The Google Cloud thing will only take like 15 minutes of the session. So you're not missing out a lot if you don't choose to follow with that. But enough exposition and disclaimers. Let's go ahead and get started. So here I have a new Visual Studio Code window. I am starting from scratch. Please follow along if you choose to do so. So first off, I'm going to open a folder. I'm going to go to my project directory. Now I tend to do stuff on WSL because I like Linux. Peter, you don't have to worry about this part because we just set it up for you. So I have my projects directory in WSL. I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it Code Soul Discord Bot. Okay. And we're going to select that folder. What? Okay. Thank you, Jay. And, it's going to, the typical VS Code stuff, it's going to ask you if you trust stuff. Apparently, I'm not in a WSL window, so let's reopen that in WSL. There we go. If you're on Windows and you don't know what WSL is, I recommend you go look that up. Otherwise, you can just create it with a Windows native project, like I did with Peter a moment ago. Yeah. So we have our project folder, we have our environment. Now, again, I'm going to show you the way that I do projects. So we're going to do this like nice production style. So we're going to start with a README. So, let's make this bigger so you guys can see. Ooh, there we go. So Code Soul Discord bot. This bot will translate messages in Discord between English and Korean based on the reaction emoji that users apply to messages, okay? And then, as usual, we're going to have a setup and we're going to have a run, okay? If I am typing too fast, if you need a moment to catch up, raise your hand and be like, Beach, wait, and I will wait. I get excited about this stuff and I type quickly, so please interrupt me if you need more time. Also, I tend to get excited and speak quickly. If you have trouble understanding what I'm saying, again, please interrupt me. Be like, Beej, can you repeat that? You're talking too fast. All these kinds of things. Okay. Now, this is a README. You can put whatever you want in here. I'm just showing an example. Okay. So we save that. Why? Oh, ha ha ha. So readme.md. Okay. So good. We're doing standard project stuff. Oh, geez. Now, next up, we want to set up our pyproject.toml. If you've done kind of standard Python projects in the past, you probably are familiar with requirements.txt. There's a new way to do things, pyproject. So we're going to do pyproject.toml, T-O-M-L, okay? And, whoa, sorry, I'm having trouble organizing my two windows here. So we're going to say project name equals code sol discord bot version equals 0.0.1 description stuff and things. Again, you don't have to type everything that I'm typing here. And then requires Python. In my case, I'm using 3.11. Peter, in your case, you're using 3.9, but you know, this kind of stuff. There's a whole bunch of other fields as well, but we're going to skip those. The big one, the big important one is dependencies. Okay. So we're going to need two dependencies. We're going to need discord.py, which is the Discord library. Okay. And we're going to say we need at least this version, and we don't want to go beyond a major version. And we need Google Cloud Translate. And this is the current version, and we don't want to go beyond the major version. Oops, I made a typo here. And I made a typo here. Okay, cool. So I know I'm going quickly, but I'll wait a moment for people to catch up. I see a lot of people typing, so I'm just going to chill for a minute. Also, I'm going to go turn on the aircon because it is quite warm in here. Be right back. Oh, I didn't bother to check if the stream sounds okay. Crap. Let's take a look at that. Make sure the stream is okay. Is there audio? Testing 1, 2. Well, don't know. We'll see. Okay. Anyway. Oh, there we go. Testing, testing. Testing. Great. Okay, so audio seems to be working. Okay. So, is everyone caught up with this part? Cool. Next thing is, nice thing about the new way of doing PyProject TOML things. You used to have to like run your Python script directly. These days, pip will actually create an executable script for you with whatever name you want, regardless of your module name and your main files names and all that kind of stuff. You can just say project.scripts, and we can say, I'm just going to call it bot. And then you give it the module path and the file and method name. So in this case, I'm going to say codesol discord bot. Whoa, typing is hard. Main.main. And you might be wondering, Beej, what the hell is that? I'm going to show you in just a second. Okay, so has everyone got this? Nope, still typing. Waiting. Cool. All right, so going forward, now let's actually start writing code. There's more project stuff that I would like to do to make this nice, but we'll save that for the end. This is the stuff we need to get started. So let's go ahead and make a new folder. We're going to make a source directory. Okay, so src. And then within that, we're going to make another directory called code Discord bot, just like here. Okay, so you should see something like this. All right, and then we're going to add our main.py in here. All right. So far, so good. And then in our main.py, just to get stuff up and running, we're going to define a main function, and we're going to say hello world. Okay. Pretty classic. Just make sure our project is set up correctly. I promise we're going to focus mostly on the Discord stuff. I just want to make sure everyone's environment is set up the same, because I don't want to deal with environment issues, because we deal with environment issues every time. Okay. So has everyone got this? Cool. Glad you too. Great. All right, so now that we have this stuff set up, we have our boilerplate. Let's go ahead and open up a terminal. Oh, wait. I forgot something critically important. If you're using Visual Studio Code, there's two ways we can do it. You can either do it the terminal way, or you can do it the Visual Studio Code way. If you do it the Visual Studio Code way, you can still use the terminal way of setting up a virtual environment. So I'm going to do it the Visual Studio Code way. That said, it requires a specific extension. I don't remember the extension name. I'm not going to go find it. So I will show you the Visual Studio Code way and the terminal way. If you have the right extension, you can just use that. If you don't, you can just do the terminal way. So the Visual Studio Code way, I'm going to do Control-Shift-P. And there's this Python create environment. If you type environment, it should show up. If you don't have the correct extension, this will not show up. If it does not show up, do not panic. There's another way I'll show you in a moment. So we can do Python create environment. It asks if you want to use VM for conda. I hate conda. We're going to choose VM. Then you choose which version of Python you want to use. I'm going to use this one. And then it creates a virtual environment for you, because Visual Studio Code is quite nice. I prefer PyCharm, but whatever. And then you'll see this .vm. Okay, that creates a virtual environment. However, let us say that you don't have that extension, or you're not using Visual Studio Code, or whatever. You can do Python -m for module venv. If you want to be compatible with Visual Studio Code, the name of the folder should be .venv. All right, but common convention indicates just venv. Doesn't matter. It's a matter of preference. To be compatible with Visual Studio Code, I would do this, but I already had Visual Studio Code make it, so I'm not going to hit enter. But if you did this and hit enter, you would get the same result. Good? Cool. So now, I want to use that virtual environment, so I should source. This is different on Windows. So Windows folks, hold off for a second. If you're on Mac or Linux, you're going to do source.vmv/bin/activate. Okay? And then you hit enter. You'll notice your prompt will change, and you'll see .vmv in parentheses beforehand. That's just setting up our virtual environment. So if we do which Python, it's not my global Python, it's the Python in this project here. Okay? Standard virtual environment stuff. If you're experienced in Python, this is boring, I apologize. For Windows folks, so Peter, what you want to do is .vmvs /scripts / if you're using PowerShell, you want to do activate.ps1. If you're doing command prompt, you want to do activate.cmd or maybe bat. I don't remember which one. Maybe there's both. But if you do that, you'll get the same result. Actually, no, because you used the extension, it might just do it for you, so you don't need to worry about it. Yeah, if you just run this, it'll do it. Okay. So now we set up our dependencies in pyproject.toml. Didn't work. All right, give me 1 second. I'll explain it to you after the event, okay? All right, if you're on Windows and you do the PowerShell scripts activate, you might run into a remote execution policy kind of thing. You should pause the video and go Google that. I'm not going to teach that right now because I don't have my environment set up and I don't want to take up too much of people's time. It is a very common problem. A simple Google, you'll find the answer in 5 minutes. But if you have all this going, your virtual environment is set up, we're ready to go. We can use the new Pi project TOML fancy stuff. So we can do, I'm paranoid, so I do the long form. You can probably just type pip, but because I'm paranoid, I do Python mpip. And we can say install, and -e means we want it to be an editable project, right? It's not a final packaged thing. We're still working to develop stuff. So -e is editable. Dot means the current folder. It will look for a Python project in the current folder. It will look for pyproject.toml in the current folder. If you do this, you'll see that it finds our files, it goes through, finds the dependencies, goes to the internet, downloads the dependencies, installs them, and then is done. Now, remember how in our pyproject.toml, we defined this project.scripts, and we said bot equals this? Well, now if I just type bot, it runs my script, okay? So this was so nice when I discovered it, when I was learning the new way of doing things. If you've already learned the new way of doing things, you're like, whatever, this is boring. If you're new or if you're used to doing things the old way, this is kind of nice. So, this is a nice little way to shorten stuff, okay? So there we go. Now, because of our dependencies up here, our dependencies are already installed. So now we can go ahead and get started coding. Any final questions about this setup before we start the actual project? Spectacular. Let's go. All right, so we're going to clean all this up, and we're going to focus on our main.py. Now, again, this is an opinionated session. We're going to do things the way I like to do things. You can feel free to mess with it later. So first off, I'm actually not going to work in the main.py yet. I'm going to make another file in the console Discord bot folder. I'm going to make a client.py, okay? And now we're going to get into the fun stuff. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a Discord bot in our code. Then we're going to go to the Discord website and, register the bot. And then we're going to try and see if it can send a message. Okay? So let's do that. So let's just get my example here. Let's create a new class. We're going to call it CodeSoul.client. And it's going to extend our Discord.client. Okay. Now you might be thinking, Beej, where did Discord come from? Well, we're going to import it. Okay. So far, so good. Cool. And then I'll give people a moment to catch up on typing. All right, so Discord has this concept of intents. Okay, so a Discord bot, there are certain intentions it can have: intent to send messages, intent to read messages, intent to identify users, this kind of stuff. They basically act as permissions. So we need to make sure we define that. So we're going to create a constructor for our Discord bot. Okay. Standard constructor definition, except we're going to have a variable length input, which is kind of funky, but go with it for now. And we're going to define a parameter called intents. And I like to do type hinting. because I'm paranoid and I cannot type. Let me also give us more space here. Can I collapse this? I can. Okay, great. Okay, so here's our constructor, and we're gonna call the superclass. This is standard object-oriented Python stuff. If you guys are not familiar with object-oriented Python, I have 101 lectures for you. And basically, this is just saying that. Oh, I also have a typo up here. This is just saying that we have a few. There are permissions that we are going to request, and this is how we pass through those permissions. Okay. So we'll start with that. Hey, what's up, dude? And let's go ahead and let's have a little bit of logging output so that we know that the thing worked. We're going to define an asynchronous method. If you don't know what async and await is, don't worry about it for now. I can tell you about it later. For now, just know that you need async. We're going to define a new method called onReady. Okay. And this onReady method, this is a Discord bot specific thing. This Discord.client class expects you to define an onReady method. Basically, once the bot has connected to your Discord server, then it runs this method. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to say logging.info, and let's go ahead and import logging real quick. Import logging. So logging.info, and I'm going to do a formatted string. We have logged in as self.user. Okay. If you're wondering where this user comes from, it comes from the superclass here. Okay. And then where is, okay. So far so good? Everyone's got this? All right. Now, I'm going to pop over to my, ugh. Oh, this screen real estate is not, I'm going to make this a little bit smaller. If you guys have trouble reading it, please tell me. We're going to change our main function here. Okay. We are going to go ahead and import our client. Let me just do this to make it easier to see. Nope, it doesn't like that. Okay, well, let's just get rid of this. Okay, so it's going to look like this. Okay. And then I mentioned earlier that we need to define intents to get different permissions. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, let's define some intents. We have to create a Discord intents object. Okay. This is, oh, and then we're going to need to import Discord. So far so good? Okay. And then one thing is we want, let's just leave it like this for now. So we're going to create our client. So we should create a new client object, and it's going to be from that class that we made. Okay. And we're going to set the intents for the client equal to our intents up here above. Okay. Now, you're like, cool, we have a Discord bot, but like, can anyone just write this code and then it works? No, we need to get an API token. Okay. What is an API token? It's kind of like a password, but it also identifies your bot as opposed to any other bot. So we're going to use something called environment variables. If you don't know what environment variables are, I'll explain them in a bit. So let's go ahead and store an API token here, and let's do get env and say Discord API token. Okay, and then from OS import get env. Okay. Now an environment variable is when you are running a program on some command line, you can set different variables that are available to any program running in that command line shell. Okay, that's what an environment variable is. They're not specific to any language, they're just a command line thing. Okay, so we're gonna set that here. Now, why would we set this variable in the command line as opposed to in our code? Well, the API token is considered a secret. Okay, so if we set it in our code is not secret. And so if a secret is in our not secret code, anyone can see our secret, and that is not good. There are things called environment files, which we'll make in just a second, that you can use to set this up. But once we've retrieved our API token, we can say, hey, let's run our Discord client. Okay? So far, so good? Everyone's got that written? All right, so now we need to go get that Discord API token. Okay? So what we're going to do is open up a browser, and we're going to go to Discord. Nope, that's not my random Googling here. We're going to go to Discord. We're gonna wait a second. I don't remember where this is. Let's just try this. We're gonna open Discord. Is that what I want? That might not be what I want. I don't think that's what I want. Damn it. Oh, I don't remember how to do this. Oh no. Maybe. Nope. Sorry. Give me a second. This is not the right place. Thank you. Discord.com/developers. Thank you, Carlos. There we go. So if you go to discord.com/developers, you'll see a page like this. Okay. Let me make this a little bit bigger for you, or that's not going to make the address bar bigger, so that's fine. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new application, and we're going to call it Code Soul Discord Bot. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to say dis-1 because I already made one called Code Soul Discord Bot, and then check the box, all that good stuff, hit create. Okay. So now it creates a new app. Okay. And there's a whole bunch of stuff here. Okay. So you can give it a name, you give it a description, all that kind of stuff. We're going to skip that because we're doing hacky, quick demonstration stuff here. You can pretty much skip all of this and go to bot. And this is not a public bot. It cannot be added by anyone. Okay. So we're going to uncheck this. Only you can join this bot to servers. That's what we want. We only want this bot to be for Code Soul, right? Then the token, this is the API token. So you want to go to bot, you want to click this big blue button. Okay, your bot will stop working until you update. That's fine. Yes, do it. I have two-factor authentication set up on my account. If you don't, you totally should. So give me just a second to enter this number. Okay, and then you get this big long text. Okay. Now, for the internet, you're probably like, Beej, you're showing your API token out on the internet. What are you doing, you fool? I'm going to delete this in like 30 minutes, so I'm not worried about it. But do not let this be in a live stream on the internet like I'm doing now. Or if you do, make sure to delete it very quickly afterwards. This is considered a secret. Anyone that has this long token here can basically steal your bot. You do not want that. Keep this a secret. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to go back to my project here. I'm going to make a new file. And I'm going to put it in the root directory and I'm going to call it .env. Okay? And then I'm going to say Discord API token equals that long text. Okay? Everyone good on that? I made a new file called .env in the project root directory, and I just put this text in there. I'll give you guys a couple seconds to catch up. That is in the discord.com/developers. After you created your app, you click bot, and then there's the build a bot. There should be a reset token button. You click that copy button. Okay. Now, one thing is that this is not a public bot, right? We need to get it into our Discord server. So I need a moment to remember how to do that. But let's save changes. And where is it? Sorry, I need a moment to remember where it is. I think it's an OAuth and then general. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Generate invite link for your application. Nope. Nobody, nope, nope, nope. Ah, crap. I don't remember where this is. I'm sorry, guys. Give me a moment here. No, we'll come back to that later. I don't care about that. Oh, damn it. I don't remember where it is. I should have taken notes. Ugh. Shit. Okay, maybe it is a... Let me just try this. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? There it is. This, and I think that's it. Nope. Crap. I'm sorry, guys. I need a minute. Shit. I remember last time I looked at it, it took me like just a second to figure it out, and now I'm having the worst time. Authorization flow. Yes. Nope. No, it's not that. It's not that. Oh my god, I am so sorry, guys. Give me a second here. What the hell is going... Here, I'm just going to move this down here for a second to help me find it faster. No, that's not what I want. Yeah, go for it. Man, I am so sorry. Why can't I remember how to do this? Ah, no. Ah, okay, okay, okay. Yep. Let me wait for those guys to get back, and then we'll do it. So, yeah, let me just go back here. Ah, go away. Sorry, guys. This is why I prefer to do stuff with presentations, because then I can have notes in my presentation as opposed to just doing pure code stuff. But we're still good on time. Any questions about what we've done so far? Questions about API tokens, what all that stuff means and how to do it? We're good? Okay. So basically, the next thing we need to do is invite the bot to our server as a bot and give it permissions to do various things. Okay, so that's what we're going to do in a second once these two guys get back, because they're following along and I don't want to have to catch them up again. But after we get the bot joined, we will demonstrate that it can join. We'll have it try sending a message. And then we'll start going over how it can look at reactions, how it can read messages, and how it can send messages. And once we've done that, we'll hook it up to the Google Cloud API. All right, great. So, figured it out. What we're going to do is back in our bot, we're going to go to OAuth 2. Okay. Then we're going to go to our authorization method. We're going to choose in-app authorization. I hope. And then we're going to tell it that it's a Discord bot. So we're going to click that. And then we want it to be able to send messages. We want it to be able to read message history and read and add reactions. And I believe that's it. Yes, I believe that's it. Now you can always modify this, but for now, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to hit save. We're going to hit save. Bro. Private application cannot have a default authorization limit. Oh, okay. Well, damn it. Give me a second. Sorry, guys. How did I do this? It worked for you? Did you disable in general? Did you disable or not? Sorry, not in general. In bot, did you disable public? Because that's why it's giving me an error. Yeah, that's why it's giving me an error. Maybe. What if we do a custom URL? Nope, that's not good. I actually don't want to add OAuth, which is why I was kind of surprised when I found it. I just want to add it to our server. Hey, look, I Googled this already, apparently. Adding bots to your servers. Uh-huh. Yeah, I thought I did that. I don't want to do it by hand. I did not do it by hand. Creating and using your invite link. Yeah, what? Yeah, this is what I did, but why is it not? Okay, anyway. So let's try it again. OAuth. And then maybe URL generator? That's what it was. Okay. OAuth 2 URL generator. Select bot. Send messages. Ugh. Read message history. Add reactions. You get this URL down here. You go ahead and copy it. And then you paste that in a new browser tab. And you get this. You choose which server you want to add it to. In our case, I'm going to add it to CodeSoul. Oh, you need to have managed server permission. If anyone wants to add their bot, let me know. I'll give you a quick manage server permission and then I'll remove it. Does anyone want to add their bot to our server? Yeah, so what I did was I went to OAuth 2 and then URL generator, and then I selected bot, and then chose the permissions I needed. In our case, we'll need send messages, read message history, and add reactions. And then I said, and then I copied this, pasted it in a new tab, and then here we go. Does anyone need me to add their bot? Or actually, you could just send me the URL and I'll add your bot. Does anyone need me to add theirs? No? Yes, no, maybe? Do you guys need me to add your bot? Or are you guys okay? So if you want this bot to be on our server, I have to add your bot to the server using this link. So if you want your bot to be on our server, just send me the link and I'll do this. So I'll go ahead and I'll add this guy to our server, confirm these permissions. Good. Yes, I am who I say I am. Cool. And then, are you sending me one, Peter? Does anyone else need to add their bot to the server? What's up?
So
Yep, that looks good.
then
So copy this,
copy. Okay.
send it to me.
Okay.
Now, if you have your own Discord server, you can just go to that link yourself. The trick is that you need the managed server permission, and I'm not going to give everyone managed server permissions, right? So it's easiest if you just send me the link, and I'll add your bot. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So I'll do that, and your bot is added. Oh. Oh, apparently only you can add it because it's private. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to give you permissions temporarily. Let me just, sorry guys, give me a second. Server settings, roles, create role, bot manager, permissions, manage server. I'm gonna regret this, but whatever, it'll be fine. What could possibly go wrong? Yeah, so go ahead and go to that link in your browser, and then you can add it to CodeSoul. Vlad, I'll give your user permissions as well. Does anyone else need to add their bot to the server? Vlad, I'm sorry, what's your username again? There you are. Yep, there you are. So you'll have to do that yourself, Vlad. I was wrong about, yeah. If I can figure out... Oh, why can't I find you? There you are, okay. How do I set where, why can't I? There you are. Set roles, okay, cool. All right, so you guys should be able to add your bots. Cool, looks like we have one. Yep, so now just visit your own link, because I granted you the permission, and then just hit accept. Yep. All right. Cool. So now, let's go ahead and go back to our code. And you should have your API token in there, right? And now let's go ahead and run our stuff. Now, I'm doing it a little bit funky. There is, give me just a second here. Where's my terminal? No. I want the first one. There we go. I'm going to show you some funky bash stuff. Oh, how do we do this on Windows? Jay, can you help Peter out with getting his environment variable to run on Windows? You might just need to grab the .env Python module. That might be easier. I just didn't cover it for this because I forgot to consider Windows. All right, so if you're on Mac or Linux, you can go ahead and just do this little script here. No, you're not. You're not joking. Windows does suck. So basically what this says is this A flag tells it to persist our environment variables. And then we're going to grab our environment variables from our env file. And then we're going to unset that because we don't want this setting to be permanent. And then we just say run our bot script. Okay. So, oh, and yeah, let's just start with that. Okay. So if you hit this, you should see this kind of logging output. And I'm sorry. The logging won't work. I missed something. I apologize. In your client script, you can't use just raw logging. You need to do something like, let's do self.logger equals logging.getLogger. Name equals discord.codesoul. And then we can do self.logger.info. Okay. So we basically just added this line and we changed this part of this line, okay? So if you guys do that and then run it, you'll see we have logged in as CodeSoulBot. Okay? So that means it connected properly. All good? All right. So let me grab this real quick. Yes. Did you get the environment variable going? Here, I'm gonna send you something in. Give me a second. Just bot. With the PyProject.toml, you can just type bot and it'll work. So Peter, I sent you a little script there. Oh, except it shouldn't be dot dot. It should be. There we go. Whoop. Okay, try that. Give me just a second, folks. What am I reading? Yeah, why would that work? Oh. What? No. No. Windows, you suck. You know what? No. Let's. Oh shit. Did someone translate? Probably nothing. All right. So Apologies for the trouble, everyone. Let's go ahead and continue. So, we can do more. So we can do something like, let's go ahead and add a little bit more functionality to it. Let's say that if a message starts with a $sign, let's have the bot read that message and then send that message back. Okay, just as an experiment, just to make sure things work. Okay, so let's define a new method called onMessage. Okay, and we're gonna say if the message content starts with a $sign, then let's go ahead and send back a message. Or actually, let's not just do $sign. Let's just do hello. And then let's also, I should be consistent with my quotes here. Oh, geez. Okay. Okay. So has everyone got this? Where's my mouse? There it is. Okay. So now I'm going to cancel this, Control C. I'm going to run it again. Okay, now in Discord, I made a bot testing channel specifically for testing this stuff out. If you do $hello, it should reply with bro. Maybe not. Oh no, what did I do? What? Oh, I'm sorry. Because we're doing it as a class, we need our self. There we go. So please add this if you did not. And then let's run it again. Okay, there we go. So now, if I say hello, what the hell? I tested this earlier. Let's try it again. Why? Where's my example code? Huh. No. That should work. What am I missing? We don't need any of that. We don't need that. Weird. Oh. Right. Intents. So right now, the bot has permissions to read messages, but we haven't configured it to send messages. So what we need to do is back in our main here, we need to add an intent. Okay. We need to say, hey, this bot needs to be able to read message content. Okay. So back in our main, in intents, set the message content intent to yes, to true. Okay. And now if we rerun it, yep, right. I already did this. Why don't I remember things? So you're going to get this error because we have requested that intent, but the bot has not enabled that intent. So what we need to do is go back to our developers page here, discord.com/developers. and we need to go to bot, and we need to enable the message content intent. Okay, basically we need to tell Discord, hey, I want this bot to be able to read messages on my server. Okay, that's what this means. Okay, so you go ahead and check this box, you hit save. Because otherwise it's going to complain that, hey, your bot is requesting the ability to read messages, but you never told Discord to allow your bot to read messages. It's just a security feature. Okay, so now if we go back, we try to run it again, we see we don't get the intent error. It has logged in. If we go to Discord, we say $hello, and it responds. Sorry that took so much back and forth. Okay, questions about how that works? Can anyone else get their bot to work? Or do you need help? We have time. Good? Here, let me take a look. the interest of time, I'm sorry, Peter, we gotta move forward. All right, so cool. At this point, we can get our Discord bot to read and send messages, but our objective, remember, is to get it to recognize reactions that act as requests to translate and then send the response. So we're going to do something different. All right. So first off, if we're going to read reactions, we need to set, we need to set an intent to allow it to read reactions. I'm going to try to anchor myself here so I don't fall over. Okay, that should be good. So what we're going to do is we're going to add intents.reactions equals true, and this will give our bot permissions to read reactions in our server. Okay, so make sure you add that, and then let's go ahead and go back to client here. And now what we're going to do is first off, we're going to add a bunch of logging. So let's go ahead and, for now, this is only temporary. We're going to set our logger. We're going to set the log level to debug. Whoa. We're going to set our log level to debug. Okay, just so that we can get some debug output and we can clean it up later. Okay. And we can say, let's make a new method. It's going to be on raw reaction add. Okay. Now you might be wondering, Beej, where are you getting this on ready, this on message, this on raw reaction add? This is all from the Discord documentation. Okay, so if you go to Discord docs, you'll find all these methods and what and when they execute. Okay. So in this case, because it's defined in the class, we need to specify self, and then it takes in a payload. The type of that payload is a raw reaction action event. Okay. So let's collapse this. Okay. So this is how we're going to get reactions. Now, just to test, because we should be doing iterative development, so we'll test one step at a time. Let's just check that we can capture, self.logger.debug, that we can capture raw reaction. So call it raw reaction, and then some text payload. Okay. So we're just going to make sure that our bot can see reactions. Okay. So far so good. Cool. So let's kill our bot, start it up again. All right, it's logged in, we're good. Let's go to Discord and let's try adding a reaction to something. And we can see here that it got a raw reaction, some message ID, some user ID, some channel ID. In Discord, guild means a server. Okay, so this is our server ID. And then here is the emoji. Its name was 4 zeros because it's a custom emoji. It was adding a reaction as opposed to some other thing. Here's the member who added it. In this case, it was me. My name is the Beej on here. And that's pretty much it. Does that make sense so far? Cool. So we can get a reaction. So now we don't want it to react to every single reaction, right? So what we want to do is we want to specify certain reactions that can trigger translation, okay? So what I did was separately, I added a couple of emojis specifically for this translation work, okay? So I added one for Korean, and then I added one for English, all right? So if we were to do this English reaction here, wait, did I kill it already? Oh, I killed it. But you would see the raw reaction payload there. So what we want to do is capture only the reactions that we care about to trigger translation. We don't want to translate on, like, smiley faces. That's not helpful. So what we can do is in our client, let's define a dictionary of languages, okay? So self dot emoji to language. Okay, we're going to define a dictionary here. Okay, so we have an English emoji, and the translation, or rather the language code, the official language code for English is EN. Okay, and then we have Korean, and the official language code for Korean is KO. Okay, so we're going to define a dictionary like this. Okay, so far so good. Give people a moment to type. Okay, we're getting a little bit tight on time. And then once we've done that, in our reaction method, we want to check if the emoji in the payload, emoji, so the payload is this whole object here, right? We only care about the, I can't scroll. We only care about the emoji that was sent, okay? The emoji has this value called name. In our case, the name is Korean or English, okay? So if the name of the emoji in the payload is one of our is in our emoji.toLanguage dictionary, then we should do our stuff. Okay, so let's leave a comment. Only handle emojis that are meant to trigger translation. Okay. Now you can add your own comment, whatever makes sense to you. All right. So let's go ahead and let's stub out some methods first. Okay. What are the steps that we're going to do? Well, first, we need to get the message that we're going to translate. Okay, so message equals self.retrieve message. Okay, and then we're going to do translated message equals self.translate. Okay, and then we're going to do self dot and then we're going to do self dot send translation. Okay. So that's going to be our workflow, right? I'm just stubbing out the methods here just to make sure we understand what we're doing. But we're only going to do the first one for now, so I'll just comment these out, okay? And we're going to define a new method called retrieve message, okay? Now, because this is all Discord stuff, we need to do a whole bunch of async await, okay? So this method needs to be an async method, and when we call it, we need to await it, okay? And our retrieve message, to retrieve a message, we need to know what channel that message is in, and we need to know the ID for that message, okay? Now, you might be thinking, well, hey, we got the reaction on the message, didn't we? Can't we just get the message from the reaction? Unfortunately, the reaction payload does not include the message content. It just includes a message ID. So we have to do separate work to get the message ID, to get the message content, okay? So we're gonna take in a channel ID, which is an integer, and a message ID, which is also an integer, okay? And then when we retrieve our message, we're going to say we're going to give it the channel ID, we're going to give it the message ID. Now, could we just give it the whole payload? Yes, but this is how I prefer to do things, okay? So now in our retrieve message, we are going to get my notes here. First, we need to get the channel. So the channel, fortunately, the Discord client has a get channel method built in, so we can just use that. Self.getChannel, get channel, okay? And then we can say, here's the channel ID. And then from the channel, we can get a message But the thing is, Discord is a little bit weird. When you get a channel, it has a list of kind of a compressed, not compressed, kind of a summary of messages, okay, just for API call efficiency, okay? So it only gives us a partial message. What we really need is the full message. So what we need to do is we need to fetch the full message from the parcel message. It's just a Discord thing, okay? It's meant for efficiency. So what we can do is we can just return the fetched message. That's it. Nice and clean, a little easy to read. Does this make sense? Giving people a minute to catch up on typing. Yeah, stuff is way smoother from here on. Okay. So this, from a payload, we grab the channel ID and message ID. Using that channel ID and message ID, we fetch the full message. Okay. Is everyone good on this part? You're caught up typing? Yes? All right, so back to our main flow. So at this point, we have the full message object, okay? So what we can do now is, let's go ahead and skip translation because I don't want to do the API yet, okay? But let's go ahead and send translation, okay? So let's make a new method. I forget, does this need to be, I don't think it needs to be async. It does need to be async. So let's go ahead and send, what did I call it? Send translation. And then let's say message content, okay? And this is just going to be a string. And then we will need to await this because it's an async method. And for the message content, let's just let's make a fake message right now, okay? So let's do a formatted string and let's call it translated, and then the message dot content. Okay. Does that make sense logically what we're doing so far? Cool. So now, I'm sorry, I messed up. We don't want to send just the message content. We want to send the actual message itself, which is a discord.message object. Sorry about that, my mistake. And let's not move this here. Let's do this. I'm sorry, guys, I messed that up. There's a little more change we need to do, but we'll fix that later. Okay. Yeah, I know what you're thinking, Carlos. We're gonna fix it in a second. So now what we can do is we can take the original message and we can reply to it with the message content. Okay. Now you could just do this as one long method, and maybe if you were starting out, that's what you would want to do. It's just I have a whole bunch of plans on stuff I'm going to add to this, so I wanted to make it separate methods to keep it cleaner. Given the time we have, I may not be able to show you all that stuff, but the version I post online will have all the extra stuff, so you'll be able to see that. Okay. Because I've already written this. This is just a shortened version. Okay. Is everyone caught up? Looks like we're still transcribing. Are you guys good now? Or still typing? Okay. Second? Yeah, yeah. Any questions about what we're doing here so far? For our experienced folks, I apologize if this is a little boring. Good. All right. So now I'm going to run this. Hopefully I don't have any stupid mistakes. Cool. So far so good. So let's go ahead and try adding one of our things here. Yeah, no, of course there's a bug. Oh, it was never awaited. Oh, oops. Oops. Forgot to await that guy. Sorry about that. That's important. But still, it should have, did it catch it and remove it? No. Why? Should have worked. All right, let's add some logging. Logger.debug. Actually, wait a second. We don't need this. We don't need this. We already had some debug here. It got it caught the raw reaction. The name was Korean. That does match our emoji to language up here. As far as I remember how dictionaries work, that should. Okay, so let's go ahead and self.logger debug caught translation reaction, and then let's say payload dot emoji. Yeah, let's start with that. Just to make sure that our logic is good. Okay, so we added this await, we added this debug. Let's go ahead and kill this, and let's try it again. Caught translation reaction. Okay. So this logic is executing, but it looks like it didn't actually send the reply. Oh no, it did. Okay, cool. There we go. Okay, so this works now. So we can, given some specific reactions, we can capture that specific reaction and then trigger some logic in response. That logic can reply to the original message. So that works. We're good. All right. Questions about that so far? Sure. Which part? You're looking for this part, maybe? Yeah. Now, there's a reason I'm using EN and KO, because when we go to the Google Translate API, that's how it recognizes languages, with the 2-letter language code. Every language that's supported has a language code. There's a specific standard from the International Standards Organization that defines all these language codes and what language they belong to. So we're just grabbing those here. Okay. If we wanted to add more languages, we would need to create a new emoji on our server and then add a new record to this dictionary with the emoji name and then the 2-letter language code. Okay, good. All right. So now we have our reaction stuff set up. So that's good. Now what we can do is actually do the translation itself. Okay. So we're going to go back to our browser and we're going to search for Google Translate API. Translate, I cannot type, Translate API. And we get this translation AI. We're going to go here. And hopefully you've set up a Google Cloud account already. If not, I guess just kind of watch or follow along. So you try for free. Right. I'm not going to sign up on this account right here. I'm instead going to use my other browser. Where is it? Okay, anyway, I'm going to, I should be logged in already. What? Wait, why? What? Am I using the right browser? Why am I back in this browser? Oh, because the browser's on the other window. Okay. So what happens is, yeah, here we go. If we do this, assuming you've already made an account, you will go to this page, which is your, nope, you will not go to this page. It will actually send you to, let me just do it this way. Translation API. I don't want the documentation and tutorials. I don't want the marketplace. Translate API. Nope. Okay. I only knew how to get there from that link. So what we're going to do is do it the hard way. Where is it? Distributed serverless. Google gives you a lot of stuff. Integration? No. Networking, operations. Man, this sucks. Analytics, artificial intelligence, translation. Okay. Now, if you go to this page, yeah. Huh? But I've already enabled it. Oh. Wait, what? Interesting. I don't know why it's saying this, but you should show something like this, and then you click Enable API. Oh, oops. No, this is a custom model. No, I made a mistake. Well, okay. Cloud Translation API. That's what you want. So basically, once you enable that, what you then want to do is under IAM and admin, go to service accounts, and you can create a service account. Okay, now you want to give that service account a name. So we'll do CodeSol Discord demo. Okay, and you give it a description. So service account created during demo. Okay, create and continue. Now, what is a service account? In cloud services, a service account is kind of a login for an automated user, for a non-human user, like a bot. So when you create a service account, it doesn't have a username and password because machines don't need usernames and passwords. They usually use more complex login. Not more complex, different type of login. So we want to give it a role. Now you usually want to constrain the access as much as possible. So in this case, we're going to look for you know what, I'm not going to scroll, we're just going to type translate. Okay, and then we get a Cloud Translation API user, okay? Because it's just going to use the Cloud API for translation. That's all we want, so I'll select that. So that's its role. That's it. Done. Hit continue. I'm going to allow myself. This is my personal account. This is my spam email. You can Hotmail. No, I don't have a Hotmail account. This is a spam email. If you start sending me email here, it's not going to do anything. So, you know, give yourself access to manage the service account, then hit done. So now we have a user in Google Cloud that our bot can log into as, and it will have permissions to use the translation API. Okay, so now this is the user we created, CodeSol Discord demo. We can click here, and then we want to get a key for it. Okay, so we're going to click keys. We're going to click add key and create a new key. Now, similar to the API token, this is a secret. Do not share this anywhere. Do not accidentally put it on GitHub. Don't share this thing. It is terrible that I'm streaming this right now, but as soon as we finish this tutorial, I'm deleting the thing, okay? So you want to create a JSON key, that's just easier. Come on. All right, and then it's going to say, hey, do you want to download this key? Yes, download it. And then, yep, it downloaded, cool. And then, I have no idea what's in my downloads folder. Mostly video games. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my project. I'm going to go to files here, and I'm going to drag this key into my project folder. Okay. This is what the key looks like. It's actually a whole bunch of metadata plus the key. Okay. This right here is the scary part, the private key. Never share this with anyone. This should not be on my screen right now, but again, I'm going to delete it in 15 minutes anyway. Now, with the Google libraries, they look for a login file, a credentials file, with a specific name. So I'm just going to rename it to that. We're going to rename this to application default credentials. If you want to give that file a different name, there's a way you can do it, but then you need to specify that file path in an environment variable. Too much work. If you give the file this name, it'll just work, okay? So now that this file exists in this location with this name, any Google stuff we do will be able to log in automatically, okay? Do not put this file in Git. Don't do it, you'll have a bad time, okay? So now let's do our translation stuff. So what we can do is, first we need to import. So from our pyproject.toml, we already specified that we're going to install the Google Cloud Translate dependency. So that's already available. So let's go ahead and import it. We're going to do from google.cloud, import translate v2. There is a v3, but I haven't bothered to figure it out yet. And I'm going to rename it as translate. Okay. Good. Okay, so you are following along in this part. All right. Good. And then down here, remember we stubbed out this, but we didn't fill it in. Let's go ahead and uncomment it and fill it in. In this case, we're going to make it an async method, so let's await it. And the contents we want to give it are the content of the message that we want to send and the target language. Now, the target language we can do self.emoji to language, where the key is payload.emoji.name. Okay. I'll give you guys a second to type this, and then I'll help you recall what exactly this does. Okay. So remember this emoji to language. This has our emoji name to a language code. Okay. And that language code is what Google expects. So given the emoji name, we use this dictionary to get the language code. Okay. So far, so good? All right. So now let's define our translate method. So let's say async def translate, and then it's going to take in message content. And let me just make sure I'm consistent with my thing here. And target language. Both of these are going to be strings. It's also, yeah, there we go. All right, so far so good. And then this is going to be nice and really simple. We can just say that we get a translation response from the Google API. Actually, wait. I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of myself. I missed something important. I'll give you guys a minute to catch up though. Yeah, we're going to finish just in time. I apologize that we're not going to have time to cover the deployment stuff, but we can either talk about it on Discord or at dinner. All right, so if we want to do translation with Google, we need a client. Similar to how there's a Discord client, there's going to be a Google client. So what we're going to do is in the constructor of our Discord client, we're going to create a new translate client property. Ah! And we're going to just create a new client from the translate API. Okay? Quite simple. Are you guys following along? Are you okay? Nope, still typing. A little bit dizzy. You good, Vlad? Cool. Peter, you good? Okay. So now that we have our client, what we can do is back in our translate method, we can say, let me get my reference here. Yeah. We can use our translate client object to translate, given the message content and the target language. Oh no. Sorry, I got off on my keyboard here. Target language. And then let me just do some new line stuff here to make it pretty. Okay, there we go. And our translation response. So the API doesn't just give you the raw text, it gives you an actual translation object. Okay, so we're going to store that in a variable called translation response. Oh, this method doesn't actually need to be async because that translate method is synchronous. I don't know why, it really should be async, but that's how Google decided to do it. And then we're going to return from our translation response. It's a dictionary. We're going to return the translated text. Okay. If you're like, Beej, how do you know that? It's because I tested it. If we do like logger.debug or self.logger.debug, translation response contents, you can see the contents of the translation response. Now I'm doing everything here logging. Normally you would use a debugger, but I'm not going to take the time to teach you guys how to use a debugger today. Is everyone caught up with this? The constructor? We're just adding the translate client. Got to work on your typing, man. Chicken pecking is a bit slow. Good. All right, back to the translate method. Now, I just put this debug statement in here just to demonstrate something. You don't have to write the debug statement if you don't want to. We're almost there. You good? And then we have one last change to make. Yeah, that's why I did this debug log, so you can see what the translation response looks like. Yeah, I'm getting a bit ahead by doing this, but I don't want to take the time to do that because we're almost out of time. So now what's going to happen is our send translation is only taking the original message. We also want to send the translated message. Okay. So let's add that as a second parameter.
Good. And then in our send translation, we need to add that second parameter. I'm going to call it translated content. You can call it whatever you want. It's just going to be a string. And then we can just say send the translated content. So you might be thinking, Beej, why did you make a whole method for one line of code? Because in the final version of this, I have this doing a whole lot more. if if it was just a single line like this, don't wrap it in a method. There's no need. But when I upload the final version tonight, you'll see all sorts of stuff. Because one problem with this is that if you keep turning off and turning on a reaction, it'll spam, and I have some code to prevent that. And you'll see it in the uploaded version online. Okay, so you good with this, Vlad, or still typing? Okay. Once you get that done, we can do a demonstration, and then we can do a couple minutes for questions, and then we can go eat. All right, all good? All right, so while he's typing up this last method here, we're gonna restart our client here, or our bot here. Come on. Damn it. Jay, do you remember how we fixed this? It can't find the credentials again. Application default credentials.json. You're right. Thank you. Okay, so thank you. So the Google you're gonna want to fix this in your thing. So in the .env file, um I was wrong earlier. Google needs to know where that credentials file is, and it expects there to be an environment variable called Google application credentials. So we're going to define that environment file here, or environment variable here, and all it takes in is the file name for our default credentials file. So you just got to add this to your environment file. So then once you've done this, then your client will be able to talk to the Google API properly. We're good. We got past the point where it encountered the error. And now if we go to Discord and we translate this message to Korean, bro, it shouldn't matter. Weird. All right, let me try a different one. Let's try English on this one. There we go. And then I can translate this back to Korean. There we go. Yeah, I guess you're right. It's weird though, because I don't have logic to tell it to not translate. Oh, did I already have that reaction on there? Oh, my bad. Okay, thank you. So yeah, so we can kind of demonstrate going back and forth between the two languages, and it just works. Any questions? So I'm gonna run this on a Kubernetes cluster because I don't know how to do things the light way. Technically, we could run it as actually no, it needs to be a constantly running thing because there's no kind of event stream. So yeah, if I can get Alex to actually use the card that has the online ability, because the card I have can't be used online. I'm talking about the card for the Cold Soul company. We're going to get an Oracle Cloud account because you can get 4 servers on a Kubernetes cluster on Oracle Cloud for free. So we're going to do that. And I'll just toss this spot on there. But yeah, so just to recap, wait, crap, which one? Nope, that's the prep, this one. What we have is we have our PyProject toml to define our dependencies and to allow us to run this as just the command bot. We have our main.py where we specify the intents that our bot will need. We create an instance of our bot, we feed it the API token, and then we run it. Then we have the actual bot logic itself. It extends the Discord client, and we add our own attributes like logging and our translation between the emojis and the language codes. In addition, we add the Google Translation API client. Then we just have this nice little on ready just for debug purposes. We have this on message just as kind of a hello world thing. You can totally remove this. Then we have just a utility method to retrieve messages given some channel ID and message ID. We have the actual sending a translation. Now, granted, this doesn't need to be called send translation. Really, the method should be called something more like reply to message. But in the final version, it has a bunch more logic. So, yeah. We have our translate message, which actually talks to the Google API to get the translation, given some message content and the language to translate into. And then we have where the kind of key of everything is on raw reactions. We go ahead and check if the emoji in the reaction is one of the emojis we care about. We retrieve the message that the emoji was placed on. We translate that message, and then we send the translation. Does that all make sense? Cool. Now I wanted to show the full making a nice application, with pre-commit hooks, make sure get ignore is set up properly, how to choose the correct license, but we're out of time. We're actually 2 minutes over time. But I'll all that stuff is in the final version that I have in a separate project on my computer. I'll put that on GitHub and I will share it on Discord and maybe on the YouTube video as well. Any questions before we call it a day? Sure. Like a different translation? Yeah, no, that's totally fine. Hisham is suspicious that this isn't a real demo. And then just for kicks, let's also do something like 안녕 하세요. whoa. 환영 하세요? 합니다. Did I spell that correctly? Is that correct? Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and try translating these. So let's translate the English one to Korean. So 해삼은 이것이 실제 데모가 아니라고 의심합니다. Okay, yep, that's right. And then can we translate this one to English? Hello, welcome. Cool. Suspicion is good. Cool. All right. Any other questions before we call it a day? Help you out with yours? Yeah. Okay. Once we close up. Yeah. Cool. All right. So again, I'll post the final version on GitHub. It will have more features than this. For example, right now you can remove and keep adding the reaction, and it'll just keep translating the same message over and over again. We don't want that. So in the version I have in a separate project, we actually have the bot will add a checkmark box to a message to say hey, I already translated this, to prevent kind of retranslation. I also set up the logging level to be controlled by the environment variable. I also set up a pre-commit hook to ensure nice coding standards and this kind of stuff. Also stuff like you get ignore and a license and all these kinds of things. So that'll all be in the final version. And then hopefully sometime this week, if I can, get my life under control. I'll set it up as a Docker container that will then get set up with a Helm chart that will then deploy to our Kubernetes cluster and actually have this bot running all the time so we can use it for translation. Or if there are other features that you want to add to the bot, we can do that. This will be an open source project. I will actively monitor pull requests. So if there's new features you want to add to it, let's do it. This is our bot, not my bot. Sound good? Cool. Any other questions before we end? Cool. Well, thank you, everyone. And internet,